talk.
I know.
Why invite the rest of these people in? That's what
I was like, this is
hello,
just us.
everybody. Didn't know that y'all were hanging out back there. Uh, you caught us. Yeah, you see, there's actually two shows that's really going on. It's the one that's before and the after that. Oh, if y'all could hear it, it is salacious and you would just have yourself a heyday, but you can't. So, uh, who knows? Maybe we could give a have a contest and have someone that could drop in. But anyway, we just say hello to you. We speak favor over everybody. Nothing missing, nothing broken. We appreciate you all. And for goodness gracious, be kind to your mind. And it's the best therapy that's out there. I mean, and you'd be surprised how much bad stuff will go away if you just start loving yourself a little bit, giving yourself a break. So, um, so other than that, Trina and I were just talking. Welcome everybody. I see that Source Frequency birthday today. Happy birthday.
Happy
Uh,
birthday.
yeah, I think that's great. Today
Yeah.
is Lynn and mine, our 14th anniversary.
Yes.
So, yeah, 14 years ago, we were in Hawaii. She said when she woke up this morning, she said, wow, I'd certainly like to be back in Hawaii. And I said, who wouldn't? But
Right.
anyway,
It
welcome
would have been
everybody. This
better
is a
Waking up
second.
on the beach this morning, you're like, agreed.
Yeah, but I will have to say this. We had the most freaking fantastic light show this morning in the sunrise. We had, um, and it was freaking fantastic. It was almost kind of a purple hue to everything this morning. And purple's
nice.
like Lynn's favorite color. And I said, you see? And I said, Fortuna gave you a gift. And she said, well, that lady knows how to paint. So anyway.
Absolutely.
So hello,
Oh,
ladies. How are y'all?
hi, Jenny.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, busy. It's we've been keeping to ourselves. It's been getting pretty intense over here. So, but
What do you mean by intense, hon? Because
polit
we'll just talk that stuff right out of existence.
yeah, politically, business wise, everybody's feeling the squeeze a lot. So it's working around to see what's going to work and what's not, in the new climate. So just speaking favor, speaking prosperities and niches to be found, and they come in like the show, the small things that
It is
really
small
do count
things.
or come in. So yeah, I can feel the build that both me and Rosie are doing, but yeah, we're building still. But it's intense for a lot of people business wise here, and everything feels a bit up in the air. So,
All big
but
things start from small things.
We were just
absolutely.
saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and isn't it true? And it's
Mm.
interesting because I'm contending technically that the world is in a recession right now. They're not telling us.
I
It's
think
just yeah, and to drive your point home, Jenny, on that is that now we're finding out that the last year of the Biden administration, they lied. They
no, never say it.
can you
Saying
imagine?
so.
So they said that there was like 1 million jobs created, right? So this gave everyone the impression that, well, if you're creating 1 million jobs, you should have a robust economy. But the reality was, and I read, I'm in part of a number of groups there in LinkedIn, and the hiring managers have been saying for over a year, we're not hiring. And so 1 million jobs, just like that, evaporated, which means, think about this, that what they're trying to tell us that there was 1 million people who found jobs, but those people never existed.
Yeah.
Only, you see how weird they play with our heads on this?
And it's happening now. It's not any given party. I know that that's been the case in the UK across parties, this illusion, really the emperor's new clothes feeling. Uh,
That's a perfect, perfect analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and I think it's catching up with them a lot, but for the people who are still in that game and whatnot, it really is the Emperor's New Clothes, and that storyline is still working. So it feels like there's a disconnect against what we are seeing and feeling to like make note of what you've just said. Guess what? There was lies. Those numbers didn't exist. The people didn't exist. The illusions ramped up even more now
And
of
they
like
call
this
us
feeling.
crazy.
Yeah,
And they
yeah, it's
call us
gaslighting.
conspiracy
It's
theorists. And it's like,
gaslighting.
wait a minute.
It's gaslighting. So yeah, it's very it's the same here. We're the blueprint for what you guys are going through. So
We really are, humanity is going through a change right now. I mean, it's really strange. Trina, you got this look about yourself. What saith
I just,
thee?
there's just so much happening so fast, and the politics and everything going on there. And then I just read some reports yesterday about Arizona and the data center planning and the water it's going
Oh,
to take. And
yeah.
we're already in a drought. And I'm like, I don't understand how this could make even any sense. It's everything is so right now not appearing to be in any type of movement towards protecting resources, water, power. It's like full on, they tell us, oh, we're in droughts and all these things, and everybody's power bills are going up because they're funding these new upgrades to the system. So
yeah.
it's such a mess, and I'm like, how in the world are we going to handle these issues? Because they're really big.
They're big. And
Yeah.
the thing about it is,
Yeah.
we're all under a spell. If you were to step back and analyze the current condition here in the United States, I'm sure in the UK, I know in other places, and you realize, wait a minute, what does a spell do? A spell creates a mirage or an illusion to the mind, and it will
Mm-hmm.
make the mind, for instance, you have people who are extremely anxious, paranoid. Well, that's all playing out in the mind. Now, could you put that on someone? Yeah, I do believe you can. But any point, my point is, and you think about a spell casting to an individual, but what about a spell to a whole society? And
Mainstream
here's the
media.
problem. Huh? What's that?
Mainstream media.
Exactly, exactly. But here's the
24/7.
problem. There is a greater percentage, and each day it's growing, of we're not woke, we're awakened. You can be asleep and be woke. You can be in a coma and be woke. But to
Mhm.
be awake is a whole, and what we're finding out, all of our so-called mysticism is actually proving out to have more validity than the current reality matrix.
Hmm. Absolutely.
I think it
Absolutely.
always
And
has.
yeah,
Well, it's true. We were talking, and again, the salacious. Hey, guy, I just want to take a minute and say hello to everyone in the chat room. Chloe, glad to hear that the little puppy dog. I saw the video. It's all, the our we call them our pets, but they're not our pets. They're actually family members.
Yeah.
And when one is
yeah.
feeling bad of another species. So, girl, good to hear that. Stephanie Marie, thank you, sweetie. Rick, good to see you. Lost in Space, what's up? Nina, how are you doing, my dear? Good to see you. We'll be with her and Robert on Sunday. Don't usually do shows in the evening, but hey, been a while. Why not?
Nice
Feel led.
change. Yeah.
Mr. Mission Control, good to see you as well. Deborah, hello. Emperor Rex, who else? And I don't want to miss anybody. Jackie, nothing missing, nothing broken. Mary wins. If Mary wins, we all win. That's all I got to say. And, you know, Maria, good to see you. I think I saw Jap in there. Jaap. I like that. Jap.
Jacques.
Yeah.
Jacques.
Yeah. There's Lauren. Huh? I like that. It's cool. Lauren, how are you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. Lauren's on that discovery trip as well. We're all on the trip. I mean, they can't get off of it.
Yeah.
and truth. And I just want to make sure, Colleen, good to see you, sweetie. Yeah, I saw your email today talking about, you know how you're now going to have to hit the button that says, "Are you a real human?"
Yeah.
So, as Colleen said, is that implying that there's non-humans?
Well,
Yep.
that's been for a while, hasn't
I mean,
it?
why
There's
would you
only
have
one
that?
other option.
I mean, if you're saying you're a human being, then what? Are you telling me that AI is real? That there's synthetic? I don't know.
And asking the
Uh,
question because there's a choice.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's exactly it. So we
Mhm.
love all of you. Thank you, Felix, and the rest of everybody. We so good to see you. And so Jan is in the room. Good to see her as well. So, a little bit of challenges for you folks over there in the UK for sure. I've been reading about some of this and I'm going, what is going on? So, this is George Orwell coming to full
Oh
reality.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, freaky
Totally.
stuff. You got
Yeah.
police, you got cops over there that are now listening to us. And not that you can do a damn thing to me or Trina, but yeah, they can do things to you, Jenny, and that's bothersome.
It
It
is.
is, it is, but that's happening to people across the pond with you guys too, where y- people in here might not agree with some of the stances people are taking to stand for their humanity, but they're taking that stand legally and they're being treated in illegal ways, illegal manners, or laws are being quickly changed to facilitate that, and that's happening here too. We definitely the coup's nearly over, guys. It really is. So we'll find a tribe and work together and find a strength elsewhere because the coup of the Western governments is nearly complete. It is. This is where we're at. So this is why you see such a lockstep, script for script, word for word play in the USA and here. There's a coup, even down to the fact that part of the biggest part of this coup of corruption going against long-standing corruption in our government is called reform. And your current president ran in a party called Reform. It just didn't gain any legs. But Elon Musk has been working with our reform very much so. And so, that Nigel Farage, the goon that's sort of spearheading that, it's very much, we're in lockstep. And it's a coup. It's a coup.
Yeah, I
Yep.
got to be candid. I used to be really, really deep into politics, and I'm going to do a show that all politics is cult worshiping. We worship more gods today than the Romans, the Greeks, Mesopotamian. We worship gods today in a manner that we don't say it's worship, but it is worship. You have
Yeah.
idol worship. You know, you
Mhm.
look at what people call the Swifties and what have you. That is idol worship. And politics is the biggest whore of all the cult worshipers there is out there. Because
Oh,
the
they
thing
can
about
explode.
those whores, and they're political whores, Trump's a political whore. They're
Mhm.
all a political whore because they've sold themselves to the ideology of power. That's the strongest cult worship you'll find in the world, and it goes back millennia, millennia, and millennia.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so
In
if you ain't up on
politics.
your cult worshiping, you need to get real smart real quick because you're being outplayed.
Mhm.
That's all I got to say about that.
Mhm.
I'll do my Forrest Gump, you know.
Mhm.
That's all I got to say about that. Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Now be a Jenny.
Yeah.
But it is so true, and that's why enclaves like this, we represent a biggest threat, I mean, than all of this. And what they try to do is shadow ban us, then they ghost us, and yet what one will discover rather quickly if you begin to really dig into this, there are millions, I would say, millions, I don't know, thousands, I would say yes, enclaves like this. And we're
Mhm.
learning, and they're learning together, and they have joined frequencies and energies. And even though those energies may be diverse in where they come from, it's the blending that makes it so powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and this channel here, um, someone wrote me and said, for a male to have a channel that is so, focused in with the divine feminine energy is different. And I said, well, I think that's the way it was originally. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I mean, you know, I got no problem, you know, you know, bowing a knee um, to the goddess. No problem with that at all. It's just
Fun down
simple
there.
respect.
Yeah, yeah,
You
and it
know,
is.
I've been thinking a lot about that. You know, a lot of these uh, gods demand worship and obedience, and you know the god forces that I was familiar with as a child that I still had memory of. Uh, you know what it only seemed like they wanted was um, some form of loyalty to that which was good. That was it. You know, do you stand for this or do you stand for that? It was kind of like black or white. It's so how confusing we can get the divisions in life when you go to the highest place of it. It's so simple. It's like, are you service to self or are you service to others? And it's truly within the heart. So it's amazing. How could we find a way to get back to um, finding community more to support people that want to operate that way? Because I do think it's going to be there's going to be a divide between um, I think a lot of reality in the way things work and the way people are choosing to live. I think there's going to be a division between, you know, more organic and like homeschooling and, you know, health and healing. And then there's going to be more to total advancement technology. I'm just seeing that. I'm like, how can we bring more communities together of like-minded people to support each other through these transitions?
Well, we
So I
have
think
to think
that'd be
first get
quick.
over the fear factor. I mean, even
Mm.
from a child, God was something to be feared. Even Paul
Yeah.
wrote, it's a terrible thing to be in the presence of God, or actually he says the
Yeah.
Lord. Um,
Uh-huh.
so, and if you like with myself, 50 years of that indoctrination, the only reason why you get saved is so you don't have to face judgment. Because
Right.
under the blood, supposedly, it's the propitiation of sin itself. And then that means you got the golden ticket. And that allows you to tell others that you can tell them to go to hell because you got the golden ticket of salvation. And the whole time, it's under this illusion of love. But let's be honest, you're freaking afraid of that God because that
Hmm.
God has said that it's going to kill other humans. In fact, it's going to kill your memories. Until you get out of that God spell, Trina, and that's the problem is that when people leave that, there,
Mhm.
as you know, and as we've all experienced, that dark night of the soul.
Oh,
For
yeah.
instance, when my construct completely collapsed, I mean, Lynn
Mhm.
found me in the fetal position,
Yeah.
hysterical because wow, that really sucked, and I don't know if I'd ever
It's
recommend
hard.
that, but
Right. It's rough. People
yeah, it
talk
is.
about
Sucks.
Kundalini. It's like, yeah, Kundalini ain't nothing like that ride you just went on.
Jeez.
That ride's worse. It hurts worse, and it don't go away. It stays for a long time, but it
Mm.
rips everything that you had as your foundation into pieces, and you got to figure out how to put everything back together because it's that extreme. So
You
yeah,
remember
I
Tinker
feel you.
Toys?
It's rough.
How you had to pick up the sticks,
Yeah.
each color. That's kind of
Yeah.
like it is, and not when you have it the collapse, you're trying to pick out each particular color and what have you. Yeah. Um,
Uh-huh.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
it's rough.
true.
It's rough. And we were talking about that earlier, how you were so, fanatic for God,
Oh yeah.
wanted to just
Lynn
heal
reminds
and
me of that all the
minister.
time.
Yeah. And now you've discovered the female part of God. And
Yeah.
you're like, full blown, let's do this. I want to know what this is. And it's so, I love it because your passion to know, because that's real.
It is
It-
real.
there is a female part of God that most of us don't have any idea about. I was like you. I was like, how did I not know this?
It's like,
Yeah, it was
and you
mind
start
blowing.
talking to people about this,
They're
the
like, what?
straights, they
Right?
start looking at you, and it's like they're going to call
Yeah.
the
Did you
guys
just get
with the
back from
straight
another
jacket.
planet?
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Where did you
Mhm.
come from? Yes,
I
exactly.
actually had a pastor write and say that, he said this. He says, I damn this Mother Nature thing. He said, this is
Oh,
an abomination unto God. And he says, now that you have sold God out, your soul, he says, you be damned. And I said, the chick that I know, the goddess I know, she's just laughing at you. It's like she's been used to that for a long time. If that's the best you got,
Pity the fool. Pity the fool. That's all I can say.
oh,
ain't it true,
And
Jenny? I mean, it is.
it's
the
it
bottom
really
line
is
is,
so crazy that this is a man-made construct. God
Yeah.
is a man-made construct. Even
Monotheism, right?
the feminine, it's feminine and masculine. It's not even male and female. It's even more omnipotent than that.
yeah,
It's outside of a body or form. It's frequency. We've managed to slow down that frequency into matter, but people got so slow they started going backwards to the march and a script and a narrative of a book that was written by kings. You've got a wannabe king writing a Bible right now over in your pond. We've got one over here trying to do that over here.
yeah.
People who want to be in imperial power over others. That's where this God thing came from. And it really is hard to let go of. In that fetal position, I know very well when this God spell is finally affirmed to be what it is, and that conditioning is letting go of, the amount of skin that you're shedding etherically, physically, mentally, emotionally it puts you in that fetal position. It puts you in that place of protecting your body while you go through this major transition. And to come out of a spell like that, the reason it is like that is because it's dark magic.
Well, now you just
It's
brought it.
negative form.
Because
Yeah.
here's the problem I have found in 15 years of studying deeply in the occult. I reject most of the occult because it's just merely, it is a half brother or half sister to this monotheistic theme and belief.
Yeah.
I mean, the Golden Dawn. What a waste of time. You read this thing because it's so attached to the Kabbalah and the mysticism of that deity, that God. They think that somehow you can operate outside of this God and still find favor with this God. It doesn't work that way, kids.
Yeah.
It don't.
Everything.
You literally, that's the problem with the Satanic Church. The only reason why the Satanic Church is existing is because the Catholic Church, the Christian Church, wants them to be there.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with most of the occult. It's been funded by and pushed by this organization, this organized organization we call the church, and they've been pushing this for nearly 1,000 years. And so now you got people who are deeply into the occult that are no different than Christians. They're no
Absolutely.
different than Islamists
Absolutely.
or Jews. They're
You know
Yeah.
serving
what
the same God.
Yeah.
You know what I keep saying too? Like one of the first commandments is thou shalt not worship false idols. It's like, okay, false idol worship is going to be anything in a material realm.
And then you know what can I add to that, Trina? then
Yeah,
you should never have a mirror in your house.
absolutely. Remember, I told
Particularly
you, I think
women.
the
How
biggest
much time
idol
do you
is going to be this. You're going to
Yeah,
have to deal with this. Uh-huh. I
it
do.
is because it's the idol of
Yeah.
yourself, of your image. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I know I do. That's what I mean, though. But when you look at it, when you look at religions, all of the religions are based on a symbol.
Hmm.
And they're all saying, "Oh, my God's better than your God," but they're all just a symbol. You got cubes, you've got
But every
crosses,
time you say that, the back of the thing is the male gender comes in because it's not she, it's he.
He,
yes,
I hear
because
I
that is
hear
really
occultist
yeah.
Satanists saying the same thing, and I'm going, you guys really got your head up your ass. I mean, you don't understand what yeah, anyway, I'll get off my
And that's the
soapbox.
thing is I think we're stuck in the gods. And the gods are characters that come out of source creation. They're all characters that come out of source. Bottom line. Bottom line. They're all coming from the same place. There's no other option. It is what it is. So with that, it's like everybody's wrong.
I tell you, I had a dream, and I don't know. We're doing something. We're being, I don't say this, there is favor with this group. And I
yeah.
believe we can have a part of reviving, resurrecting the true goddess.
I don't,
Goddess
there's
is,
no,
goddess
she is
is.
already resurrected.
Yeah.
I am
No,
certain
no,
of
no,
it.
no. But I mean, not staying
Within the
within your
people's
own,
hearts. Yeah.
expanding it out. Yeah. Bringing it up. You know, we got a cocktail party coming up, and I've determined that's what I'm going to be bringing up in the conversation.
Oh, fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And said,
It's
well, are
so
you really going to
beautiful.
do that? I said, yeah, I
What,
really,
yeah. What is
A
the
I mean,
aspect
post-it note.
of mother, of
yeah.
goddess? Bottom line is we live on her body.
And I
She
think
is
that's the refuge
manifest.
that she's taken is the mother nature heading.
It's
Within
so,
that she's hid herself.
yes,
Well, look at what they're
yes,
trying to do to women. They're calling
yes.
us carriers and they're calling us chest feeders and
Yeah, what
carriers.
the hell is that?
Well, again, it's the repeat of history that I talk about, the taking
Mhm.
out of the women, calling the women witches,
Oh,
demonizing them for what they're naturally good at, creating life, preserving life, nourishing life. That's become a demonized thing. And it really is beggars belief that people want to cling on to this so hard. And the reason they want to cling on to this so hard is it's been great spell work, but
Mm,
also is
mm.
that they've gotten into the root chakra has gotten into such a unparalleled space and unequal space that they have no identity, so they cling on to whatever identity somebody puts forward for them and attack any other identity that goes outside of that box. And so what we're seeing now is unquestionable attacks on other people because they're other than, and it really is that's stupid. That's stupid. You don't see wolves going picking fights with other packs just because. There has to be a good reason and a good balanced outcome that they can predict. So the animals are doing it, they're thinking more than us. They're thinking more about the community, the tribe,
Absolutely
the
smarter than us.
babies. So we really do need to, again, going back to the show thing, it is the small things that count most because somebody like you going to this dinner party, somebody might say, oh, well, what's that going to do? You're going to stir the pot a bit. You might upset the flow, and it's like, no, but I might just plant seeds as well and be the chaos agent that brings forward growth in people. And actually, it's a small thing to do. It's a small sacrifice for you yourself to make. And letting go of any fear of doing something like that and see it as fun, which could create a ripple effect that you aren't going to limit the potential of, so you're going to go into it unquestionably and unfearfully, and it's not going to cost you much to do. It's a small thing that could equate to huge dividends for anybody who has eyes to see and ears to hear. So it is those small things that we do in daily life for ourselves and for other people. And some of those things are going to cause uncomfortability, and that's a good thing too, if you're in the right setting.
It's interesting. You mentioned earlier how, I'll just say the particular current mindset of this monotheistic God is I'm pretty active on this quorum. I feel it's kind of the thing that I like to do when people are searching for these answers who came from the same background I came. I mean, I was so deeply indoctrinated in this thing that it's difficult. And it amazes me how many people are starting to awaken, but how hard they try to fight to validate that which they were believing in. And they will kick and scream, but
And what
they're
is that? That's the ego, the part of you that creates the patterns that make your world make sense. So,
no,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's
they're
gonna
the
fight
disruptor.
with you. It's gonna be like, don't you touch my structure. Don't you touch my
Uh,
pattern. Oh my gosh,
uh,
that's what makes me me. And that's how I know how things are supposed to work around here. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's so interesting because it's the small things. And if you look at this whole mindset, and you start peeling it back, the problem of getting out of it, it's that it is indeed so multi-layered.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
No, yeah.
it's not, it's not like this. No, 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 that's not how it works. It's concept upon concept, precept upon precept. And
Yeah.
you get so far into the covers, you don't realize how many covers are actually on the cover.
You know,
Mhm.
one of my tools that that really helped me to get through those layers was, okay, what is the essence of it? What is the core message of it? What do so it would help me encompass it like put it into an idea versus all the different layers with somehow a common theme, so I could go into that and work through that. Because when you start realizing like truth at a different layer, everything starts to kind of rewrite itself.
Yeah. The
You
code.
just have to
Yeah.
have a knife that's sharp enough and doesn't get dull,
Right.
Yeah. You're gonna need it.
It's a
Because
lot
eventually,
though.
if you don't keep sharp on this stuff, folks, you're going to have that butter knife, and that ain't going to, it may eventually,
You
but
know what I keep seeing though, Wayne, is all these layers are literally meant to keep you in the same loops. That's
yeah,
why it was
yeah.
like, man, you got to find a way to cut through it all and get to the core essence of it and go deep into that and just figure it out. It's tough though. It's hard because these layers and loops, man, they're coming from all different directions. It's really
So,
hard to get out.
what is this Comet? Is it T3 Atlas or I3 Atlas, whatever it is? So, we have discovered now why we're seeing these anomalies. See, it's not from this solar system, it's not from here, it's come from outside the galaxy. And the interesting thing they have discovered, it has a negative core energy than
Hmm.
all the other comets and asteroids in our solar system.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, all right. So extrapolate from that. If this rock that has come from somewhere else outside the galaxy is now in our galaxy, and we're discovering that at the very core of it, because every rock here on Earth has a magnetic signature. You know how the magnetic poles are because you can look into the sediment in the rock. So if this thing has come from a altered galaxy or universe into ours, then I could extrapolate that on a spiritual level, and I'm going, holy shit. Then that would mean that if there are spirit beings that come from the origin of this rock, they would be directly opposed into the dynamic energy of us.
Yeah.
You know what I just saw?
What'd you see?
Three Eye Atlas. Three eyes of the world. Atlas holds the world. He carries the world. Three eyes of Atlas, past, present, future, measurement. Many would maybe think of this would be the measurement of like rapture, like measuring where have we been? What's the progress? Where are we going? That's what I saw. Three eyes. One's past, one's future, one's present, one's future.
That's
Don't know.
interesting. It's to me, it's just the fact that it validates that this system that we're in is a closed loop system. And
Yeah, I
it's
think
not
so.
that it cannot have an outer negative or reverse charge. It's just the fact that it's interesting that a rock that's come here now and it's creating all the hubbub, when in fact this negative core energy, which is not the same as it is here. And I'm going, how interesting. I mean,
I wonder if
and
that means it is technology and it's got like fusion or something
I don't know.
happening.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's just my thing. I don't see any signs that this thing is of any alien nature. I think it's a,
I don't know either. Yeah.
yeah, and it's, I, from what I've looked at it, it's the anomaly is the fact that it's this negative core energy. That's what I find fascinating.
Yeah, me too. That's
So how did it get
definitely.
here? How long has it been traveling? I don't know. But
Hmm.
I could be wrong. It's just my opinion. It could show up on our doorstep here in the next couple of months and go, well, you see, I completely missed that one.
Right. Right.
Because that's
Yeah.
bound to happen. I mean, I have
Yeah.
found on my discovery that the times I've discovered when I've been wrong is when I learn the most.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It just can't be myself. I'm sure that, I didn't
No,
discover this epiphany and going, oh, wow, Wayne, let's get this to the whole world.
right. Yeah.
It's going to be like the emperor's new clothes. Someone's going to go, well, duh. Then they could probably congratulate me that I finally caught up, right?
You
Yeah,
know,
You're just
well,
now
we're
catching on,
all
are you,
picking up.
Steiger?
We're all picking up different pieces, and that's the beauty of it. And like you said, those times when you were wrong, you experience your greatest leaps of growth. And I
Yeah.
do. I think that's what we're doing. We're looking at everything with open ears and eyes and trying to navigate the best we can in a reality that seems that most of what we've been taught is not really even true.
And I was just thinking it goes into the theme because every time I have found myself to be wrong, I used to really get down on myself. Man, I was super critical of myself.
Yeah.
Now I just love
Mhm.
myself and say, it's all right, dude, man. It's just part of the process. But it was those small
Mhm.
times that I've been wrong that have added up to those great epiphanies. You go, oh, yeah, yeah, okay, sure. You know, look at me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which,
if you're open to
Learning
it,
as
it
we
makes
go.
you dive
how's
deeper.
everyone in the chat room? I can see it's really going by here.
Yeah, they're like getting some paragraph stuff here. They're
Yeah,
doing
they
it. They're
are. I
chatting
like
away.
this.
Yeah.
And this thing, I think with Nina that I think we'll be, she'll be talking more on this. And there is, so much. I mean, listen, we're not alone. And
Oh,
I don't know what a spacecraft that would be capable of traveling in, from other galaxies would look like. I mean, technically, the Earth is a spaceship. We're moving through
yeah.
space. It has a
Yeah.
controlled environment. Now, the question is, who's driving the ship? I don't know.
I
I hope
think
it's
it's
not the idiots that are driving our governments. If so,
Wayne,
we're
would it
in deep shit,
wouldn't it make
folks.
sense
First
that
love in
it would be the goddess Sophia? It would be wisdom
Boy,
because
now
knowledge
wouldn't that
created
be
wisdom.
something? Here
From the
is the
mist into the
goddess.
form. Yes, from
And
mist
so she's
into
got all
form.
these people that proclaiming this male
Yeah.
god, but she's a planet.
Yes, a
And she's saying,
soul.
hey, you go ahead and believe anything you want. It ain't going to change anything, but that's okay. If it makes you happy, good.
Yeah, I think Gaia's a conscious being just like all the other planets. I think Saturn's a conscious being, Jupiter's a
Well, when
conscious
we
being.
had Patrick,
Yeah,
talking
and
to
I
the
knew
planets,
that
holy crap.
resonates with my soul. Yeah, when I
Yeah.
would go into
That is
those,
the only show that has ever been done like that.
because
People have
that
tried
is
to replicate it and it don't work.
because it's that sensitive.
Yeah. That was, folks, if you go back and watch them, Patrick, God, what do they say, blessings and favor to you. Because, but yeah, that was some groundbreaking stuff right there, folks.
He was just a very good open channel for the
Oh,
frequencies of the planets.
amazing
And
channeler.
yeah, and many people do as he's done, but the way he did it and the way he'd never done it before, it was just so raw, authentic, and a learning. And when you get to see these new things explode lifetime, that's just a phenomenal experience. Yeah,
It
eternally
helped me
grateful
grow
for Patrick.
spiritually.
Absolutely, because you had
It
no
did.
idea that you could literally go in and have a conversation with Jupiter. Now
And,
you
and
do.
and that the sun would actually know, but then again, I
Yes.
look at the sun and its mass. If there's intelligence to it, whoa,
Oh, there is. Yeah,
But I
and
love that show.
and
It
then
it did.
I don't know, the moon too. There's no intelligence to the moon, but there's conscious intelligence in and on the moon. So you pick up on that, you know what I mean? So it's a different kind of consciousness. There's a lot going on if you just kind of look and do your own explorations. I think most of what we're tapping into is the brilliance of what we're already holding inside of us. And most of us have had very unique experiences of eons of time. And I think when we start tapping into that, that's where we're really going to grow, is when we can really start to see more about ourselves and give those gifts and talents to this current realm. So, that's, I think, the most important tool. And it's kind of what they don't want unified is that.
And to add on to that, I think that's exactly why they're so afraid of the consciousness that we're injecting into the system. Because if this ever spreads like a virus, that where people begin to say, hey, listen, I worshiped that male god for all this time. And, finally someone's speaking out. Yeah, I've been afraid of that dude. Maybe it's time that maybe I look at the alternative of what it replaced or tried to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll just be very candid with you. The whole debate here on the trans thing that's going on, to me, it's an attack on womanhood. It's an attack on the feminine.
It's an attack on division. It's an attack
Yeah,
to keep you
you
divided.
know,
It's an attack so you can't unify. You can't be with the goddess and not be with the god. You can't be with the god and
yeah.
not be present with the goddess. So there is
What
there's
a
no
phenomenal.
division in that. Yeah, there's no division in that. So like people want to fight over that. And it's like you can't if you were actually with the true source.
How
It's
many are
both.
trans religion?
Right.
You just brought something completely new. I've never heard of it. This is first right here, folks. But what? Wow. You think about that and the implication of that is so cool.
Well, we're both male and female. Everything here is. There's no getting out of that fact. So this is a polarity system, and that is about energy and how it moves negative and positive, masculine, feminine, everywhere in creation, in this atomic world we live in,
Yeah.
we are experiencing both. You don't get one without the other. They just do different parts of the operation.
And it's at that, and it's anything to divide the species.
That's what they want.
That's what they want.
Ultimate goal. Let's
Yeah.
go.
To
Oh,
divide.
team
Whereas
female
if we
and
say
get
to
mad
each
at
his
God, and
own,
then let's get mad at the female and go God. It's always that fight, and that's what they want. When we figure it out and put them both together and honor and be loyal to them both. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh,
that's why the
meltdown.
Greeks were so successful in their culture. And it's why Alexander the Great was who he was. I
And
mean,
before that, and before
yeah,
that, there was people
Yeah.
that went through many tribes,
Yes,
and
exactly.
all had different identities. It didn't necessarily get tied to sex, which is how you know in this degradation of this diversity and division of people is that they've clamped it on to sexual activity and
Right.
deviant activity, and then they've
Mhm.
also brought it into the children's sphere. Now, children are the most goddess like creatures. When left to their own devices, they'll put on a different cape every day. They'll put on a dress, they'll put on boots and a cowboy hat the next day. They can go into any role, any because they're right in their imagination so that they can explore them themselves. So they really did attack it with labels and religion and
Well,
morality.
wasn't
And
it
now
during
you
the
find people who are struggling with that and people who are jumping onto that that actually want to be deviant in those areas. So it's a whole.
well, Shakespearean theater during the king reign of King James, and I think it went forward, but the actors, women weren't allowed in theater.
No,
So the
no.
male had to take on the role of what the female
Female
was.
or male. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they would
yeah,
Yep.
fight to be the female role. The men
yeah.
actually preferred to
Thespians, that's what
play
I
the
was trying to
female
think.
role. They would prefer the female role in the Shakespearean
Yes,
because
actually, many would. Yeah,
they
yeah.
would fight to keep that.
You
By
gotta
the
think
way,
about it
folks,
too.
here's a little FYI for everybody. This is the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Oh
and they're
wow.
having like a big celebration.
Mm.
And back in the day, in my youth, we had a thing in St. Louis every Friday night. Uh, Casey would put on, the Rocky Horror Picture Show at midnight, and it was a happening thing. So anyway, I digress, everybody, but you know, do the shuffle. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Right on, right.
Oh gosh.
Uh,
That's great.
were any of all ever in theater? When I was in the eighth and ninth grade, I was in theater, and to
Yeah.
me, taking drama was just, so freaking cool. I mean, did any of y'all
My
take
cousin
drama?
did a lot.
Jenny,
Yeah.
were you in drama?
No, it's very dramatic, but not not in drama. But a lot of my friends did. I suppose I did like stage dancing and stuff and ballet and things like that. So that would go into it when we would put on plays with ballet and a bit of tap dancing. But so I
Yeah.
did the dancing side of it, but not the acting side of it. But a lot of my friends really enjoyed it and actually went to, some of them are actors now.
Yeah, I could.
They've done well. They like it. They're good.
The two that we did that I was in was The Merchant of Venice and what was the other one by Dickens? Come here in a second. Great Expectations.
Wow.
Mhm.
I imagine you being
Mhm.
good at
I enjoyed it. Yeah. Of course, I was being beat the shit out of home, so it was a great opportunity to escape, from,
reprieve. Yeah.
yeah, it was. Yeah. That's
Great
why
opportunity to know too that you had to count on yourself.
oh
And
yeah.
that is a formative thing that happens to that
That's why I
with
got so
children.
good at the clarinet was that I have
Yeah.
my guitar over here I was playing earlier
Yeah.
this morning and yeah, it was great therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true. But anyway,
Mhm.
these are the types of conversation that, in many circles people would not want to have because of the fear of offending someone. But
Yeah.
you have to get over the fear of, and number one, if someone's going to be offended, that's upon them,
Well, it means
not
they're
you.
just sitting in judgment.
You
And
know,
we need to work on judgment. And I know it's hard because that's how we form our
or you can
patterns.
lead by example.
It's still hard because patterns. You know how to tie your shoes. You know how to drive your car. We need patterns. They're very important. See what I mean? So it's the balancing of these things. This is where we struggle.
It's
Is
interesting. I saw a road rage thing not too long ago, and it was odd because the eventual conclusion, you pretty much knew that someone was going to wreck something. And it was interesting because in this exchange, it was amazing how many people immediately use the middle finger as a means of communication. And I told Lynn, I said, you see, thousands and tens of thousands of years of evolution, and we're still using the basics.
Yeah, fire at
Mythology.
you. I'm firing you.
Gee.
Yeah, fire. Yeah,
Exactly.
feel my
Uh,
fire.
and it's funny because Lynn and I, we were talking about the years of our marriage. It's just gone by so quick, and and when I really get on her last nerve, that's what she'll do.
Yeah.
I'm still Theo every time does this to this
Exactly.
hand.
Feel my
And then she
fire.
says,
Mhm.
it's the one gesture that has 1,000 words attached to it.
It does. It
Theo
does.
keeps
It
doing this
does.
to the hand. Every time he comes in the office, the hand goes into the middle finger position via Theo.
And so isn't the
It's
middle
his
finger Saturn
naughtiness.
too? I think it is. I
It
think
will
the middle
be,
finger
yeah.
is Saturn, represents Saturn.
I know it's
Yeah,
fire.
because
I
it's
don't know
Jupiter,
if it's Saturn.
Saturn, Mercury, and then something on the end, or something like that order. That's interesting.
Wonder,
Yeah.
yeah. I wonder if it's Mars. I'm like,
Maybe.
oh,
Mars would
might
be
be
the
Mars.
fifth one, wouldn't it? The war, the change machine.
And it's universal. That's the thing about it is you may not know how to speak another language, but
Yeah.
you do that. I mean, they'll get it. That's all I know.
In one
Just
symbol.
reading
Jerry
some.
M. Danowski, sorry if I butchered your name, Jerry. He says it's an enlightenment symbol, actually. I wonder
There
what he's
you
talking
go.
about. The FU symbol? That's interesting.
Well, the FU symbol, when it hasn't got a gap, is wholeness as well. So it creates peace and wholeness. So,
Hmm.
but with the FU, we turn it around and separate it.
I'm learning
Yeah.
so much from this book on palmistry, and so it's really interesting if you have this finger here that matches up to this finger here, that signifies something. If this finger is taller than this finger, then that's, as I said yesterday, and Trina, I'm glad you're here, and Jenny as well, because I had this epiphany at like, 1:40 in the morning. I'm reading this book and what have you. We've talked about the soul contract. How many times have we talked about that? And as I'm reading, and this guy was a master. He was alive back in the 1700s and he wrote the most proficient book on palmistry. But it dawned on me in a chapter that he was writing about this is your soul contract.
Yep.
You put your
Yep.
hands, Jenny, put your hand up there. This is my
And
right hand.
guess what else too, Wayne?
See?
You've got past, present, and future.
Right. This is the left hand, which will be your general life. And you
Yep.
can see mine on the lifeline, heart line, fate line. See, look at that. So,
We have very similar lines, and it's funny that we're both Gemini, but me, you, and Trina found that similarities in the lines last
Oh, I
time, didn't
left
we?
one.
yeah, you
Yeah.
see? So, this is what I love about people because in our hands is all of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We came in, we didn't know how to read the contract. And if you can learn to read the contract, and the contract is this one here stays, this is the one that changes. And I can tell much about my life now from this template that I had to what I have done by
The
my actions.
reposition.
Which one
Yeah.
changes?
Huh?
Which
This
one
one, your right
changes?
hand is the one that shows the changes. Your left
Oh,
hand is
okay.
the one that is your blueprint. It's your architectural
Oh.
drawing.
And your
And
left hand is
Oh.
feminine, so that would be your blueprint, your motherboard, and your right hand is masculine, which would be the actions you take, create changes. So it makes sense on that side too.
Totally makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And if you're ambidextrous, right hand, left hand, both hands, all these
I
things are
do.
part of this contract.
Yeah.
I am
And I
ambidextrous.
know what's coming now. I know that there is a big event, and I won't get into all the specifics here. but it's in the contract. And this is here. Did you know that if a person has, for instance, a brain clot, an aneurysm, to where they basically are in this comatose state, do you know what begins to change?
What?
Your lines. They
Wow.
begin to disappear.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're not walking
Wow.
your path. You're not, yeah.
And
Well,
you're
because
learning all of this stuff, and
well,
it's like
think about it. That's evidence that your consciousness is not programming your avatar, so it's
it is
starting to
so
fade away.
freaking deep. I mean,
That is deep.
you know,
That's like confirmation you are making it all. Wow.
wow, exactly. It's that
That gave
wow
me the
factor. You go,
goosebumps.
whoa,
Whoa.
you know?
Yeah, totally. Oh wow.
In
Yeah, I'm covered
my
with
history,
chills on that.
if I knew how to read it right, I'd have been aware of
Mm.
something that happened in my mid 40s that was
Hmm.
going to be a life-threatening. It was right there in my lines. And
Yeah.
what happened in my mid 40s? I contracted spinal meningitis and Lyme disease.
Yeah.
It was right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
It also said that there would be, a couple of ventures that where I was going to be basically swindled out of. And sure enough, it
Mhm.
happened.
Yep.
See, that's the great thing about being able to have extended life on this planet. You begin to see these things and you walk away with this personal truth to yourself and you want to tell others, but most people will never believe it.
No.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm.
It's crazy.
That's all I gotta say.
Mm.
Gaia says it's in the auric field as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you start leaving your body, your energy field takes your fingerprints, I think, with you.
Oh,
I
that
do.
was the other thing, and the
Yeah, I do.
freaking
I because that's yours. It's your sine wave.
yes, yes.
You're identifying sine wave, and when you're done with that, the energy won't produce it anymore. Because we all have the a same common shell, but we manifest it in different ways depending on our consciousness and blueprint and agreement that we came in to put into this human hand. So yes, we are. Wow, more evidence that we are really manifesting in a very big
It's
way here.
so deep. I mean,
Look
Yeah.
at how law individualizes us. One the best tool still is for them to take
and this
fingerprints.
is why in England, going back to King James, he was the one that outlawed palmistry, and
Yeah,
anyone caught doing it, he would immediately face the hanging.
yeah,
France did the same thing when they brought the guillotine. And here's something strange about the guillotine. You think it's a painless death. There was a French doctor in the late 1800s that was allowed to go in and an execution. And when the man's head was separated from his body, the doctor picked up the head. The mouth was still mouthing words, the eyes were still flickering, and then after about 40 seconds, they went relaxed. And then 3 minutes later, he calls the head its name. The guy's eyes opened, fixated upon him. It was though he was still connected.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the fingerprints. Now, I worked in a biometric payment system 20 years ago, and the things I learned about this, and when you begin to see certain things in your fingers that begin to change, holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is exciting. It's the small things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
All right. So,
remembrance.
well, Jenny, pull us some cards, dear.
Oh,
Because the
happy.
world is, listen, they can't stop us on that. And this is interesting. It was just not so long ago that anyone who studied palmistry was either breaking the law or would become ostracized by society.
By law, for my tarot, or if I was doing palmistry, but we've got to say for entertainment purposes only, and that hasn't been just in the last 5 years of this censoring. That's been long standing.
Yeah.
Particularly, yeah, we have to say for entertainment purposes only. And there's
Are
a
you not
reason.
entertained? Are you not
No, you're not.
entertained, I
Let
asked.
me entertain you.
How about that? I mean, I feel like I'm Patrick Stewart. Are you not entertained?
Right? Oh, you're not.
So we've got the Queen of Swords, uh,
Mm.
thought, words, intellect. You can see this queen, most of the other queens on the tarot deck are facing forwards. You can see this queen is in her profile at her side. She's got a sword of clarity, of truth raised up, and she's also got the hand raised up to that sword of truth. And so the palm is facing upright. She's got both just the tiniest touch of a foot showing. So with this queen, she is she takes a step back to be on her throne and to be exalted in her throne space with the Gemini is that she can be cutting with her words, but this is in the upright. This is in the so she's a practical thinker, but she's applying thoughts to the emotional field, and so she's applying clarity to that space. And in her upright position, in the way that she is here, she shall not be triggered. She shall not choose to be offended. She shall not. So it's very much of the things that Trina and Wayne have been mentioning, in that you choose to be triggered by a truth, by somebody's truth. This is a motherly energy that suffers no fools gladly. So approach this energy within yourself or around others with authenticity, because when this kind of queen energy is exalted on a throne in the rightful way, in the balanced way, she doesn't want to be foolish. She doesn't want to be go around the bush. She wants to hear, and not just hear, but feel the words of impact that you have to say to her, or be listened to. So listen to the Queen of Swords, listen to the Queen of Swords around you, and also listen to the Queen of Swords within you also. Because when this energy is rising up in a lot of people, we've got the Nine of Cups on the bottom here. It might be, that some people are faced with the question of, this is in the upright, and this is just coming through, not even too tied to the cards, but associated with, are you drinking too much? And so this kind of queen is quite happy to bring up that kind of question and sit in that and be able to take that advice or not, and choose why, and have a balanced question, a balanced conversation about it. So it's a space of authenticity, intellect, and also not too many words, but impactful words. So when you're walking, when you're talking, when you're being in yourself this week going forward, recognize, am I speaking my truth? Is this throat chakra open in a way that is in flow, or is it being charged or infiltrated or limited by something else within myself or outside of myself? She's got her back to the Nine of Cups in this lineup. So something about leaving what feels good to recognize what is good for you this week. That's coming through for me with those cards for people.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
And Chloe
You know,
said,
when you
which,
showed the queen is on the throne, what I literally would just saw, like the divine feminine, being the ruler over the earth and holding her sword up to connect with the universal construct of the powers of source that were above, saying, like, now I claim the truth anchored into the earth. And that's why I could see one foot. It's like grounding it into the earth. And then I saw, like, no more confusion over who I am. No more, it was just like the anchoring in of the divine feminine through the source of inspiration. That's what we're all a part of, that beautiful consciousness. And she was bringing in the right medicine, and the sword was the antenna of the frequency, and her hand
Yeah,
was directing the rays of creation to bring forth the appropriate signal. And I was just like seeing her as a tower of an electrical
that's so
energy.
accurate, because she's in the clouds. That you're right. The
Oh,
clouds
wow.
are,
Yeah, that's
whereas
right.
most of the queens are covered with, fruitful, like the Queen of
Yeah.
Pentacles. They're covered in fruitful, nature, trees more. So she's the queen that is on the profile and in the clouds. And also, you're right. The hand being raised to me is always the identifier of her. And so the ethers are
Crazy.
identifying who she is. And what we've just been speaking about with the lines, that makes complete sense. And of course, this is a charging rod. It's an etherical rod. It's
Yeah.
thought, it's words, it's intellect and
Yeah.
wisdom. And so yeah, you're absolutely right. She anchors in. And so sometimes people can take the Queen of Swords really the wrong way,
Yeah.
especially,
Oh, I've
they get
never
a bad
seen
rap.
this. I've
But
never
that
seen the
comes from the
card that way
misogyny.
before. It was like,
Oh,
to me, it
it was
was a totally
beautiful.
different place. I was like, I am bringing in truth through my antenna of my sword,
Yeah,
and I am goddess, hear me roar, and people will start to remember who I am because it's truth. And it was just
yeah.
this beautiful thing I was seeing. I was like, I've never looked at it that way. Holy
Where did
macaroni.
you see? Because you read things that couldn't go missing in the card. She is up in the air. She's up. She's raised up into the ethers, into the air.
Connecting to
So
the highest minds. Yeah, the
it,
highest
it makes
consciousness.
sense what you said, and she's resting the sword as well on the throne. You can see it is anchored in on the throne, so it's a charging chair. It's a charging space, and so yeah, the Queen of Swords can get that bad rap, but she really is that she's the conscious queen. She's the queen of she's an industrious queen, and the reason that she gets a bad rap is again the patriarchy. So what's your patriarchy, and where that comes in, or your misogyny and where that comes in, male and females here, because we can
Mm.
both carry that misogyny
Put it in the
that's been
right
conditioned
place.
into us, and so it's it's a case of that, yeah, that she's Gemini. She's the thought, the words, and
Oh,
women who talk too much, we've got that unconscious bias that has been pushed on us with this patriarchy. So she does get a bad rap when actually she's a wonderful queen. She's
yeah.
Mercury,
Do y'all
both sides.
remember back in the day, and I'm dating, but it's some interesting because y'all were talking, I'm seeing, so
Mm.
Columbia Pictures back in the day was like MGM Universal. And if you
Yeah.
go back and see the opening part, every one of Columbia Pictures, who did they have? They
Yeah, the
had the
Liberty. Yeah,
goddess.
Lady Liberty. Yeah.
She was raining forth radiant light and she was on the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
You
Uh-huh.
know, this is so interesting. Again, small things, it's like, okay. It's like I'm painting by numbers. It's like, okay, I'm beginning. Oh, that's the picture. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ladies,
I
love
think,
the
yeah,
convo.
I think
love
this whole
you.
divine feminine talk, Wayne, is bringing forth those electrical antenna moments of, oh my gosh, maybe I can look at both and it's okay. It's those little steps, those little things. So this is
That's
like,
why, ladies, I'm
yeah.
convinced that when we pass over and we're all going to make that journey, but I
Mhm.
just got the sense that, when that moment comes and we step into the ethereal, that we're going to be guided. You see, I am convinced that there is a separation because the enlightenment that we've gained here, how would that work if you were put into the general population? There would be a conflict there. There would be an unbalance of knowledge, experience, right? And
Mhm.
Trina, when years ago when we were telling, and particularly when there was that real prophetic time for myself, that I kept seeing that there was this place that we go differently.
Yeah.
I think
You know
that
what
we'll
though?
see the goddess there. I think she's going to
I'm
say, "You did it."
Welcome home.
Well, yeah, and
Exactly.
you know what? I
On
I, I
in.
think that Wayne are like your generation, the one above it, and the one right below it, which is mine. those generations were heavily into the monotheistic God, but these newer kids and these newer generations, they're all about everything. So they're going to be a lot more open and resonate a lot with that, the blending of both and knowing that they're both, so they can honor and really get into who am I rather than why do I feel uncomfortable in my own skin? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll shift
Yeah.
that. So I really see a beautiful lot of healing and a lot of potential. And I do see that the kids, they're kind of built for this.
Someone asked, where can you find and read about the guillotine? Just type into your God, your search engine, and it will pull it up. Actually, it was a story today, so it was in the news, which I thought was really interesting. It's like,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. Well,
Guillotine of it.
it's interesting because I believe it's in the state of Montana, one of those Western states, that the option for capital punishment, death, is a guillotine.
Hmm.
Wow.
Hmm.
So the moral to this story is you don't want your head on a guillotine because apparently consciousness uh, stays
I
with
mean,
the head, and that's interesting. The expression "hell in a handbasket." I'm going to have to repeat that because that's one of those
Oh
idioms. You're
man,
going, well,
dang
now
Wayne,
I know what that makes perfect
dang
sense.
Wayne, you just wrecked that. Oh wow, 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 hell in a handbasket.
in a
Wow.
handbag.
Yeah. Oh
You
man.
know, it's interesting. I was hearing a testimony of a guy today who's been through some pretty extreme programs, and he was talking about how they've been utilizing those and have a way to keep them alive for a long, long time. And amazing you brought it up.
And that's why I
Coincidences,
know
you
we're
know,
expending this
there are
out.
none.
But we have lost, they hid the knowledge from us as to how we're supposed to really die.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't know how
Oh
to
yeah.
die. And
Yeah.
I did a show on that years ago, but I'm telling you folks, we don't know how to die. It's just like we really don't know how to live. If the body wasn't on automatic and autopilot, many of us wouldn't remember to breathe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's true. And we
Yeah.
don't know how to die. Death was never meant to be traumatic. It was meant to be in a twinkling of an eye. You go from one form to another.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I will
Like
say
that.
this, back when I was starting and when the Queen's sister was writing to me, she imparted a lot of interesting directions for me to go. And one of those directions was a person in India who was a guru that, said the thing about Western culture is that they keep you in this cage all the way into death
Yeah.
because you've been taught to fear death, where death is to be embraced. It's just merely a transition. And
It's
because we
coming
have
back
been
to life.
psychically trained to fear it, when the event happens, it dumps all the adrenaline and all you get through the death anxiety. I mean, my wife is in that industry, and I can tell you it's real.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's the
Yeah.
small things. And Susie Q goes, Puff, you just got to pass it around. That's all I got to say, Susie.
Yeah.
Pass it over, Susie.
Love
Yeah.
that gal. All right. Guy, give my best to Paul out there too. Every time I
Yeah.
see Paul standing behind you and so many times, and I know he's off something the other. But anyway, ladies, been fun. We'll do this
Oh,
next week,
go
and
ahead.
have yourselves a fabulous week. I'll be making my wife dinner tonight, our anniversary dinner.
Aw.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're gonna go do seafood over the
anniversary.
weekend.
Oh,
I'm the one
happy
that cooks most of the time.
anniversary.
I am the guy that cooks. But the
Oh,
reason why I do is that A, I love it. I love my wife, but I'm an alchemist and I am fucking good at it. I
yeah.
mean,
Better at it.
that's all I
Mhm.
got to tell you. People, my cooking is well renowned by many families between Denver and parts in between. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you love it, it is alchemy. And that's why they
it
say the
is.
one who works in the kitchen should love cooking. And there is
And you
some
speak
truth to
love over the
that.
food, you
That's
mix a little
right.
bit of garlic, a little bit of this, and it's
And
like,
I
oh.
I learned this week that, or was it last? I can't remember which week, but it was recently, of the bakers. So, like in France and whatnot, in Italy, where they have those really bespoke bakeries that have been like passed down from grandparent to child to, and they've people will not go anywhere else once they've discovered them. And they've got such a passion for it because their hands taste better. They've worked with yeast so much that the yeast lives and is in their hands and stays there. So when they start working on the dough, the heat of their hands and the dough, they really are different to just us when we dip into a little bit of bread making here and there, because they've saturated the hands and the spirit in this dough, so that their hands actually, people love to smell bakers' hands apparently in
I
these
can see
places
that.
because they smell so good, especially when they heat up. So you can imagine bakers will be a sought after thing, for a partner in these spaces because they're nourishers, feeders, but they smell so good. And so it really is an alchemy and a labor of love. And,
It is
and
laying
they,
on of hands. Yeah.
yeah,
I make
Yeah.
some badass banana nut bread. I can tell you that. I mean,
yeah.
so it's almost
I
in that
love that.
season
And
again.
you're not so great at the breads.
Well, but
Great at the
you have your
Scotch.
alchemy in other ways.
Yeah, I do with
Yeah,
the Scotch and
that's
things,
all
but I
I got
can't
to.
do breads.
I mean, you have a way with the herbs and the spices and the natural aspect that I'm still a neophyte, but that's how
Yeah.
you learn.
Yeah.
Me too, actually.
Yeah.
The Mother Nature has got
Imagine that.
no limits to learning.
All right, everybody. We love
Mm-hmm.
y'all. And Lost in Space says, I always bake with love. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
magic ingredient,
That's
love.
kind of
Yeah.
bacon.
That's being a true wizard. That's what it is.
Mhm.
All right,
Hmm.
everybody. We love y'all. See you next week. I'll be on tomorrow. Going to be doing a whole show, an hour on Fortuna. I love this gal. She
Nice.
is one
Hmm.
hit chick. That's all I got to tell you. She's a goddess,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
she's really a hip chick. I mean, yeah, you know.
She knows how to get it done.
Well, she does, and she kind of really digs rock and roll and
Yes.
jazz. Can you imagine that?
Mhm.
Yeah, I like smooth
Mm.
jazz, by the way. So like
Yeah.
this. Literally written hour, etc. Everybody, we love y'all. Stay till the next time. I'm off into a